Greetings aspirants. Today we are going to discuss our first concept of CC concepts in the subject Environment and Ecology, and that is the concept and definitions of environment, ecology and ecosystem. So let's see what is environment. Environment is everything that surrounds us. Environment is everything that we depend on for our survival. Organisms depend on the environment for its survival. So let's discuss what is the structure of environment. The structure of environment consists of various components like the lithosphere, that which is called generally as the land, and the hydrosphere, which is commonly known as the water, and then we have atmosphere, which we generally refer to as air. When all these components meet together to form life and make conducive environment for the life to exist on the earth, this junction is called biosphere. So let's look at the functional unit of biosphere, that is ecosystem. The word ecosystem is coined by a famous ecologist named A.G. Tansley in the year 1935. And this word is derived from a Greek word oikos, meaning home, and systema, meaning system. As we have already referred to it as the functional unit of biosphere. So what is the definition of an ecosystem? Ecosystem is the interactions of the organisms among themselves and with the physical environment. That is, among themselves and with the physical environment as an ecological unit. This is called as ecosystem. So we need to know what are the types of ecosystems. Ecosystems are both natural and human design or man-made. What are natural ecosystems? Natural examples of natural ecosystems are forests, ponds, etc. And what are human designed ecosystems? They are agricultural crops or aquariums. So now we'll look at what are different components of ecosystem. Ecosystem has different components. It consists of both living and non-living organisms, also known as biotic and abiotic components. So we need to understand what do they mean by vary over space and time. For example, in our summer crops, only due to the temperature, when the temperature is right and the rainfall is right, we will have our mangoes in the season. So here the time is affecting the growth or the conducive environment for the mangoes or the mango trees to grow. And what do we mean by space? If you are expecting the fish to grow on land, it is not practical. So the space or the habitat in which they live, that also needs to be perfect. So here again we are looking at the components of the ecosystem. So the members of the biotic, as we've discussed, the components of the ecosystem are both abiotic and biotic, and these biotic community are further categorized as autotrophs, heterotrophs and saprotrophs. Let's see this in a flowchart. So we have discussed there are both two components of the ecosystem, that is the abiotic components and biotic components. The abiotic components are further divided into physical factors, inorganic substances and the organic substances. The examples of physical factors are like temperature, humidity, rainfall, etc. and inorganic substances like the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and organic substances like proteins, carbohydrates and lipids. So these organic compounds or organic substances form the link between the abiotic compounds and the biotic compounds. So now we have seen that biotic compounds are further divided into producers, consumers and decomposers. Here we need to understand the terms autotrophs, producers also known as autotrophs, and consumers, that are heterotrophs, and decomposers that are known as saprotrophs. So what are autotrophs? Autotrophs are that organisms which feed themselves. They do not depend on other organisms and they produce their own food for their survival. They are called as autotrophs. Examples are mostly plants, and some bacteria also, I repeat, some bacteria also produce their own food using a process called chemosynthesis. Okay, now what are heterotrophs? Heterotrophs are those organisms which depend on others for their survival. That means they depend on the producers for their sustenance. Now what are saprotrophs? Saprotrophs are those which feed on dead rotten organisms. That is, they are the decomposers of the living material. They decompose the dead matter and bring it back into the atmosphere or into the lithosphere or the hydrosphere or the atmosphere, depending on where they have to go. So this is what is an ecosystem. Now what do we mean by ecology? Ecology is first coined in the year 1869 by Ernst Haeckel, a German biologist. Now let's see, ecology is the scientific study of the organisms that is between the living organisms with each other and with the environment. Now this ecology is studied in various levels. It is studied at the levels of populations, communities, ecosystems, biomes and biosphere as a whole. So let's look at it through a picture. So let us see each one individually. So what is an individual? Individual is group of organs. So individual consists of group of organs like the respiratory system, the heart or the digestive system, etc. So after that, this is the individual level. Now what is population? Population is group of individuals. That is, they contain the similar species of individuals. But what is a community? Community consists of different species of individuals or the populations living together in a same habitat. Then we have ecosystem. Ecosystem consists of both the organic organisms that they live in the habitat and the biotic and abiotic components like the water, temperature and the interaction of the biotic components with the abiotic components. And then we have biosphere. Biosphere is the total amount of all this together. That is, the complete life that exists on earth is called biosphere. Now let's sum this up. Let's see what we have already discussed. What is the environment? Environment consists of different components, that is the lithosphere, the atmosphere and the hydrosphere, and the junction where all these spheres conducively form an environment that is conducive for life is called biosphere. Now to understand the functions of biosphere, the functional unit of biosphere is an ecosystem. What is an ecosystem? Ecosystem is the interactions between the physical environment of the organisms and among themselves, and the study of the whole thing, the environment and the interactions of the ecosystem and the biosphere is called ecology. So here we made the concepts of ecology, environment and the ecosystem clear. Thank you.